UPSC Prelims 2026 100 days strategy video that we have brought to you, and myself Abhishek Mishra. And through this YouTube session, basically I would like to discuss with you what all we should keep in mind if we are targeting UPSC 2026 Prelims, right? And today is a very important day for all the UPSC aspirants who are wanting to attempt the 2026 prelims, because only 100 days are left from now, right? And why this number 100 days is important? So the importance lies in the very fact that we need to know that what is our target and how many days we have to achieve that target, right? So the target for us at present is to clear UPSC prelims, right? This is our target, and the number of days that we have to prepare for this target are 100 days now, okay? So as the time comes close, we have to be more focused, and sometimes when we have lot of time, so we also tend to waste time. But now when the time is just enough, we need to make sure that we are optimally using the time, okay? So I think we also have a message from Abhinav. So thank you, Abhinav, for your kind words. And we'll have this session in an interactive manner. That is why we have kept it as a live session. So in fact, you are free to ask your questions, and I'll be happy to answer them. Any question, any doubt which you might be having about the UPSC 2026 prelims and how to study for it, I will take you through this journey. But let me just break this 100 days into how many months we have, and in each month how many days we have, right? So we are in February, then March, April, and then May, right? So tomorrow onwards we'll be left with around 16 days in February, right? So 16 days in February. March is a month of 31 days. April will be a month of 30 days, and in May, on 24th May, we have the exam. So in May we have 23 days, right? So this is basically we need to keep in mind. Now, what is an ideal way to prepare for UPSC? So let's understand it in this way, that there is like, because there will always be individual differences, so we cannot say that there is one ideal way of preparation, but still I would be telling you like which are the multiple ways in which we can prepare for this exam. So I think we have a question from Ketan. He's saying that he's practicing 50 questions daily and also analyzing it, but will it be sufficient till 30th April? I think that is what till 10th April he's asking. So if you are practicing 50 questions daily and analyzing too, it is fine. See, so what Ketan is saying, that he is practicing 50 questions and he intends to practice 50 questions daily, right? 50 questions daily, and if he does it till 10th of April, will it be fine? So there is no problem at all, Ketan, it is fine. But I will also suggest that while practicing, we should always try to, or in addition to these 50 daily questions, what you can do is on weekly basis, you can attempt a full length test paper, right? Attempt a full length test paper. This is also this will be helpful for you because this paper you have to attempt just like exam, right? So while attempting this paper, you should be ideally in a room in your on your table, and there should be no disturbance for 2 hours in which you should attempt the paper just like exam. And after that, you should also analyze the paper, that how many questions you got correct, how many you got incorrect, and the questions that you got incorrect, how many you were able to narrow down to 2 options but still you chose the wrong option. Were there any silly mistakes? If so, how you can try to avoid them in the next test, and so on. So this full length test paper, it also needs to be attempted at least on weekly basis. Sometimes I'll also suggest that many times what happens that we are not having enough time, and we have like lot of test papers with us, but we are not having time to attempt 2 hours each. In that case, one good way to attempt the papers is just read through the explanations, right? So just read through the explanations of the question paper, explanation of test papers, and this is very useful. This will save you a lot of time, and it will also help you in revision, right? For example, whenever we are attempting a comprehensive mock test paper, it actually helps us in revising the entire syllabus. So that is very handy, right? Let me take a question from Abhinav, and his question is, what should one must focus or keep in mind in the remaining days, and till which month current affairs preparation should be there for the exam, right? So let me answer Abhinav's question, that time period of current affairs, right? For UPSC Prelims 2026, what should be the time period? So generally, our idea is, or based on like what we have seen over the previous years, as per the UPSC question paper setting, the thing is that current affairs, the right time period will be 1 month before last year's prelims till maximum, like I think we can go up to 31st March of the year of prelims exam, right? So this is the time period. Now if we look at 2026 prelims, so this will be, because exam was last year on 23rd of May as far as I remember, so we can say April 2025, and here March 2026, right? So this is the time period that we should be focusing on. But obviously we are still in Feb, so when we are preparing, so we can actually say that instead of Feb, instead of March, if we do it till Feb also, it is more or less okay, but we should keep track of this whatever is happening till March, till 31st of March, right? Because many a times what is in news gives us a clue as to what is important from the static portion as well. So that is why we should keep track till March, but we can cover from April 2025 till February 2026 for sure. That is the time period, right? And regarding your first question, Abhinav, what should one focus on or keep in mind in the remaining days? I'll come to that, right? That's an important area. I'll come to that. And Uday is asking world history, right? World history, we are basically this session is focused on UPSC Prelims 2026. So world history is as such not part of the prelim syllabus, right? But sometimes, for example, Greenland has been in news, right? Or maybe the Palestine Israel-Palestine conflict has been in news. So maybe a question related to that can be asked, right? So generally the best source for covering world history is also NCERTs, right? From NCERTs we can cover. Then Ketan is saying that yes, he has joined test series. Avadh is saying that how much hours from now onwards are ideal for prelims preparation. So Avadh, I think it again depends from individual to individuals, but I think a daily schedule should be there, a daily plan should be there for every student, and we should optimize our time, okay? But there should be also, instead of having a long study session, we should have a session like small sessions with frequent breaks, right? So that we are not getting bored by any subject. We should also change the subject so that boredom does not creep in, right? But ideally speaking, I think a schedule, because like many of you might be also uh, doing your, many might be working while appearing this exam, many might be also going to college while appearing this exam. Some of you may be full time at home or in PG and doing the preparation. So it will vary from individual to individual, right? But ideally, I think if one can devote 8 to 10 hours, right, with frequent breaks, it will be fine, right? But it will vary from individual to individual. The quality of hours is more important than the quantity of hours. More important than quantity of hours, right? So we should not be counting the hours, rather we should be focusing on how much we are gaining from those hours we are spending. Right. So for somebody it may be just 6 to 7 hours on daily basis with frequent breaks. So idea should be at least you should be covering 2 subjects in a day and frequent breaks. Then every day you should also be practicing some questions, right? Practice of questions should be an integral part of your studies, right? For example, I think one of the students said that he's practicing 50 questions daily. So that's a very good way to go about it, right? Then Faizan is asking that he's done with revision, but there is lack of confidence in geography, environment, and science. How can I overcome this? So, Faizan, I think you understand that geography plus environment, right? They form a very important area of UPSC prelims, right? So, it is very important, but sometimes what happens that when we read something only once, it may does not uh, enter into our memory fully, right? Or we may forget it easily. So the only way to uh, right to get better and comfortable is like multiple revisions. Multiple revisions. So one thing is we should revise multiple times whatever we are reading. Plus, we should also try to connect what we already know, what we are studying, with what we already know. What we already know, right? This is very important, because if we are just studying or just reading from books, it we may not be able to remember it during exam. So very important is that whatever we are reading, maybe we should be making short notes, and those short notes need to be revised multiple times. Plus, we should try to connect what we are learning new with what we already know, because when that connection will be made, we'll be able to recall it, right? For example, let me give you an example, right, which I normally tell to my students in classroom also, and that is about the Suez Canal, right? Can any one of you tell me, like, when was the Suez Canal uh, inaugurated, right? Please write in the comment box if you know that uh, when was Suez Canal inaugurated, which year? Which year? Right. So I'll tell you, like, what I'm saying, that you have to connect what we are studying with what we already know. For example, we study about Suez Canal. That Suez Canal was inaugurated in 1869, right? Suez Canal was inaugurated in 1869. Now I have read it, but what guarantee is there that I'll remember it till exam? I may forget it, right? I have to revise it multiple times, but even after revision, if there are years like 1869, 1969, 1769, I might get confused. But what if I connect it with something which I already know? For example, I know that Mahatma Gandhi ji, he was also born in 1869, right? So what I connect, I make this connection that Suez Canal was inaugurated in the same year when Gandhiji was born. Now I will not forget that Gandhiji was born ever. So by connecting this piece of information with what I already know, the connection has become stronger. Now I will not forget that when Suez Canal was inaugurated. So I will remember. So this is also a trick that we can use to remember some of the information. So we have to apply it intelligently enough, right? So that was my idea, how we can do better. So Faizan, multiple revisions plus try connecting what we already know with something we are learning. So then it will be better. Okay. And now Rizwan, actually this session is in English. So there's a limitation that we will not be using Hindi. For Hindi, we have our Hindi channels, right? Okay. Uday, you are talking about world history for mains exam. Again, NCERTs are the best source, and coaching notes you can use for history, right? World history portion. Then Abhinav is asking, what about the fluctuating mock test marks? Is the same situation with toppers also? So yes, with mock test paper marks, they may fluctuate because the difficulty level of mock test papers, right? So what happens is mock test papers, the scores varies, right? The scores may vary. So scores may be high, scores may be low. But we should not get disappointed with a low score, or we should not get too elated with a high score, because the thing to be considered is the difficulty level of the question paper. Difficulty level of question paper, and this varies, right? That is why we normally suggest that PYQs are the best source of testing yourself, right? The previous year question papers of UPSC itself, right? So they are the best indicators, right? But what to do? For example, many students tell me that, sir, we already know the answer Q by heart, right? So we read the question and we know that C is the answer, D is the answer, B is the answer. So in that case, what we can do? So there, what we have to understand is that in the PYQs of UPSC, while attempting a question, you already know the answer, right? You already know the answer is C, that you are knowing that the answer is C. But how you can test yourself? So you need to check whether you have the information or logic whether you have the information or logic to determine C as the answer, right? Because yes, you know that C is the answer, but whether we are having that information or knowledge or logic that why C is the answer. So if you know why C is the answer, then it is fine. So that is what needs to be tested from the PYQs. Okay. And yes, the toppers also face this situation, so don't worry about that. Aditya has a question: how psychology is best for me or anyone? Please tell me what changes I can see in myself after completing it. Right, psychology is one of the optional subjects which is offered in this exam. In fact, I also had it as my optional when I was an aspirant. So psychology is a very good subject, but it doesn't help you in understanding other people. It helps you more in understanding yourself, right? So it is an optional subject, and you can read about it in our Drishti website also, right? Because this session is focused on the UPSC Prelims 2026 strategy. So I will not be going there, but yes, psychology is a very good subject. Then Aniket has a question: is there any current affairs crash course at Drishti? Yes, Aniket, we are having a current affairs crash course which I'll be taking, and we are starting on 18th, right? So on 18th Feb, we are starting with the current affairs crash course, and I'll be taking this course in which we will be covering the current affairs which I mentioned from April 2025 till March 2026, right? So this will be our coverage, and it will be done of all the relevant current affairs. So this we are going to start, and there are going to be around 50 plus classes in this, right? And the classes duration will be around 2.5 hours each, right? And it will be 6 days a week. So we are going to start with this on 18th Feb, right? Then Uday is asking about how to get mark at interview, 200 marks, right? So Uday, one has to perform really well in the interview to get 200, but it is not that difficult. Many students get it, right? Around 180 to 200. That's a very good range to score in the interviews. Then Ketan is asking, sir, my science and tech and environment is weak, and sometimes I feel confident and sometimes demotivated. How should I deal with it? Ketan, this is a normal thing with, so don't think that you are alone. Most of the aspirants go through this roller coaster of emotions, that sometimes they feel very motivated, then other times they feel demotivated. So that happens. But to reduce anxiety, what we should do? See, anxiety happens when we are not doing what we are supposed to do, right? So anxiety happens basically because of this reason, when we don't do what we are supposed to do. So for example, as an aspirant, we are supposed to study, but we are not studying, right? So if you are studying, even then anxiety may be there, but there will be less anxiety. But if you are not studying and only worrying, then there will be more anxiety. So some anxiety is natural, right? So we should not fight it. But yes, if the anxiety is happening because we are only being anxious and we are not doing anything about it, so then there is a problem. Okay. So the idea should be that we have to maintain a good routine in the last 100 days. And the good routine, I mean that try to maintain a healthy routine. For example, like one can try to see whether one can get up by, say, maybe 5 to 6 a.m. One should wake up. After that, do some physical activity, exercise, jogging, etc. Right? Once you are done with this, maybe from 7 onwards, one can have the first study session, right? And maybe that can continue up for 2 hours, right? 7 to 9, or maybe for 1 hour, whatever you prefer. Then there can be a break, right? You can take breakfast, etc. And then again from 11 to 1 you can have a session, This will be study session 2, right? So one subject in one session, then maybe a different subject in another session, right? So this can be session 2. After that, another break can be there, which can be for lunch, right? And it can be for maybe 2 hours break, right? After that, you again come back from 3 to 5 for session 3, right? Session 3 can be there. Then again, you can take a break. It can be a evening walks, evening snacks, right? So this kind of break can be there. Then again, maybe from 6 to 8:30 or so, right? One can have another session. Or maybe if you are following this 2 hours routine, then 6 to 8, right? Session 4 can be there. Then we break for dinner, right? And the final session can be from say 9 to 11. So this can be session 5, right? So we are having 5 sessions. So we can have 5 sessions of 2 hours each in a day, and you can maybe customize it according to your needs. But I think for an average person, this kind of 5 sessions of 2 hours each, in one of the sessions you can practice CSAT also. In one of the sessions you can maybe study one subject of GS, in another session another subject of GS, then maybe one session can be devoted to current affairs. So this way also we can do, right? And you can customize it according to your needs, okay? And what is very important is to have some physical activity. Also talk with your friends, family, so that you are also in a good mental state. And finally, a good night's sleep is very, very important, right? So we should maintain a routine, because some students, what they do during exam preparation, they get into this habit of studying very late, right? And sometimes they study till say 3 a.m., 4 a.m. So what happens when on the exam, just the night before exam day, what happens? They are not able to sleep at say 11 p.m. or 10 p.m. So the entire night they are awake, because their body clock is set in a different way. And when you go without proper sleep to give exam, it becomes very, very difficult, right? So because you will feel drowsy, sleepy during the exam, and that is the last thing that you want to be feeling on the exam day. So make sure that you are following a good routine on daily basis from now onwards, so that it is not a problem when the exam comes, okay? Now let me take other questions. So right, I think a question from Bhavna. She's saying that you have been in the UPSC field for a long time. Bhavna, I think we'll be having a similar kind of session in the Hindi Drishti Hindi channel also, right? So don't worry about this, right? And the strategy remains the same for a Hindi medium aspirant and an English medium aspirant, right? It is just the medium, okay? Then yes, I'll be telling about what things to avoid also, right? Mm, Diksha is saying that your current affairs classes help a lot. Uh, can you help please with the last 2 months topic checklist? Diksha, I think rest assured, in fact, the Drishti team, what we are going to do, we are going to come up with a series like for the last 100 days, and in that series I'll be taking up some important topics, like maybe 100 important topics, something like that we are planning, and we'll be coming up with that, right? So that will also help. And what you have suggested, maybe a listing of the important topics. So for that we have a Turkish magazine, right? So our Turkish booklet is also out, which is a compilation of current affairs, and my current affairs classes will be based on that booklet only. So you can refer to that. But yes, we'll be coming up with a current affairs based program that I have already told. So don't worry about it, and thanks for your compliment. Right, Bhavna is right. Construction of Suez Canal 1869, it happened in 1869. Neshu Malik is saying, sir, doing multiple revisions and attempting PYQ, but in test series not getting good marks, then I feel demotivated and hopeless. How to tackle this situation? So I think Neshu, I already told that in the test series or mock test papers, no, uh, the score may be high on a very easy test, or the score may be low in a very difficult test. So should we think that if we are scoring low in a very difficult test, that we are not good enough, or if we are feeling too confident by scoring high in a easy test? No, it should not be like this. So the aim of the test, right, mock test paper should be to fine tune. Aim is to fine tune our test taking strategy, right? And what do I mean by test taking strategy? So the idea is the test taking strategy, the idea is to eliminate silly mistakes. What is a silly mistake in UPSC Prelims exam? So suppose there's a question, right, and the question is asking which of these is not correct, right? Which of these is not correct? And the options are given A, B, C, D. Now what we do, we are not reading this word not, and we end up marking which of them is correct, right? So this is an example of a silly mistake, that even though we knew the question, we could have got 2 marks for it, but what we have done, we did not get the 2 marks, but we have taken negative minus 0.67, right? So that has to be avoided. So we should eliminate silly mistakes, and that happens with practice, that when we are very conscious that we have to read the question very carefully, we have to read all the options, and then we need to attempt. Okay. So first thing is to eliminate silly mistakes by reading the question paper carefully. Then do not waste time on any one question, right? We need to keep constantly moving while attempting the question paper. So the question paper in GS, it has 100 questions, right? Now suppose we have moved from question number 1 to 10, but then the 11th question was very tough, so we are stuck on it, and we suppose we waste 10 minutes on it, or maybe even 3-4 minutes on it. It is not worth it. What we need to do is, we need to read the question and we need to make a judgment whether we will be able to clear it, answer it correctly or not. If we are not sure, if we want to come back to this question again for thinking, then let us mark it in the question paper and let us move forward to the question number 12 and so on, right? So the idea is that from first question to 100 question we should move, because sometimes what happens, that the initial 15 questions may be very tough, after that there may be some easy questions, but if we'll keep wasting time on these tough questions, so we may be not able to complete the entire question paper, and some easy questions will be missed out. So we need to do the question paper or attempt the question paper in multiple readings. Attempt question paper in multiple readings. For example, in the first reading, we are able to do say 20 questions. In the second reading, maybe we are able to do again another 15 questions. In the third reading, maybe another 10 questions, right? In the fourth reading, we are able to do another 5 questions. So maybe multiple readings are required. Okay? So that we need to keep in mind. Okay. So test taking strategy: eliminate silly mistakes, do not waste time on any one question, attempt question paper in multiple readings. So these are some of the test taking strategies that we need to fine tune by attempting the mock test papers and PYQs also, right. Let me take another question. So Priyanka, I am not able to understand what you have written, that acha, distractions like social media and time management. I'll come to it, right. And Aniket's question is, sir, prelims, how many current affairs questions come, right? Okay. Okay, so let me uh, take you to through the trend analysis. Okay, so I think this will be very handy for all of you. Right. So here, I'm not sure whether you are able to see it clearly, but this is a trend analysis, right? Trend analysis of the UPSC Prelims GS question paper from 2013 onwards, right? 2013 onwards, right? I hope it is visible. No, it's visible. Yes. So see, in the UPSC prelims, because we have multiple subjects, right? So sometimes one has this doubt which subjects we should focus more on, right? And one of the student just asked that how many questions were asked from current affairs. So see, this is 2013, right? So this is 2013, then 2014, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and this is 2025, right? So 2013 to 2025, the trend is there. Now, if we look at the questions that have been asked from current affairs, right? Here we have current affairs. This is current affairs. And in 2025, 23 questions were asked, right? This is current affairs. From history, 16 questions were there, right? Then 15 questions were from polity and governance. 13 questions were from geography. 7 questions were from environment and ecology. 15 questions were from economy. 11 questions were from general science and technology, right? So this was the breakup of questions in the 2025 paper, right? Overall, we can see that in history, generally the questions have been asked in the range of 16 questions, 14 questions, 19 questions, and so on. Like only in 2023, there were only 7 questions asked, right? It was only 7. Otherwise, 12, 13 questions have been asked on average. And in history also, we have 3 sections, right? So 3 sections are there. So one is the ancient India, then we have medieval India, and we also have the modern India. So one thing we need to understand is that while preparing for UPSC prelims, because now 100 days are left, so what should be the idea? Should we be focusing initially on peripheral areas, that means from where questions are less asked, or we should focus more on questions from where more questions are asked? So the idea should be to should be to prioritize those areas from where more questions are asked, right? And there modern India should be priority for us. So our priority should be modern India. Because why I am saying this? Because in modern India, the thing is, it is overlapping with the main syllabus also, right? So our effort in studying for modern India will be rewarded in mains exam also. So even if less questions are asked in prelims, it will pay us back in mains. So modern India, we should definitely focus. After that, over the last few years, what we have seen that a lot of questions from art and culture, right? Art and culture and ancient, they are getting asked more, and medieval India, less questions are being asked, right? So our priority for completing history should be modern India should be our first priority. Second priority should be our ancient India plus art and culture, and third priority should be medieval India. Now here also we need to think smartly and act smartly. For example, many times what happens, the aspirants, they leave some area totally. That means they say that okay, from medieval India not many questions are being asked, let me just leave the entire area only, right? But the thing is, if a very simple question comes from medieval India, right? For example, a very simple question, okay, maybe about the Delhi Sultanate, right? About the dynasties in Delhi Sultanate, and we have totally left the area. So a simple question will be missed. So that's a loss of 2 marks straight away. So what we should do, even in areas where we feel that okay, we don't want to spend too much time, but at least basic understanding should be there, right? And time is enough, we can go for a basic understanding. So for any such area where you might be confused, so NCERTs are the best option. Just go through the NCERTs, or if you have the Drishti booklets, you can also refer them. But any one source multiple times, that should be the idea, right? So history, our focus should be more on modern India, and then on ancient India, art and culture, and medieval India at number 3. Time permitting, you go for medieval India, right? Now for polity, what we need to do? So polity, again we can see that the questions, generally 14-15 questions are being asked every year, but in between, in 2016 there were only 6 questions asked, right? So that has happened, but generally we see that 14-15 questions are being asked by UPSC in prelims, and polity questions are conceptual. So if your concepts are clear, then you can easily answer them, okay? So polity should be another area which you should focus on, right? Polity, priority area, right? So polity should be a priority area, and we should try to do the previous year questions in polity, right? They act as a very good indicator of what might be asked, and polity questions are often current oriented also, right? For example, speaker is in news, SIR, electoral rolls is in news, so we can be asked question on that, on Election Commission of India. So current oriented polity we should be doing. Then geography and environment, we should take it together, right? Geography and environment, this is an area again lot of questions are asked. So geography and environment are also interconnected. So geography and environment should also be a priority area for us to prepare. Here also we are getting almost 20 questions, 20-25 questions are guaranteed from this section, right? And here also in environment, a lot of current oriented questions are asked. So it is also part of the current affairs thing. Then economy. So economy questions are also very of direct nature, and every year we can see that around 14-15 questions are asked from economy also. But yes, the lowest questions asked from economy have been 11 questions, right? So more than 10 questions asked every time. And Indian economy questions, again many of these are current oriented questions, right? And some are from static portion, conceptual question, but easy to do, right? So economy should also be an area which we need to prioritize. Then we come to general science and tech. Here also rest assured that 10-12 questions are normally asked from general science and technology, the questions at times become quite random here, right? So what we need to focus on here again, it has to be a current oriented approach that we can follow for science and tech section, right? So the static portion of general science and tech plus the current oriented science and tech, that should be the idea. And then we come to the current affairs section. So here also sometimes static questions may be current oriented, or sometimes direct current affairs questions are asked. For example, last year question on BRICS was asked, right? And some other issues were also asked directly from current affairs. So this is the trend analysis, right? And this gives us an idea that which areas we need to prioritize. So basically what we need to do is we need to prioritize subjects from where topics are, from where questions are more likely, and this we need to do at two levels, right? We need to do at two levels, from subjects where from where the questions are more likely to be asked, and within subjects the topic. Prioritize topics from where questions are likely. And in all of this, what is our best source? The previous year question papers of UPSC, right? They are our best guide for all of this. Okay, right. Then Uday is asking that he plans to give UPSC exam in 2027. When should he attempt the test series for mains exam? So if you are wanting to attempt the exam in 2027, so I understand that you will be giving prelims in 2027. So in 2027, if your syllabus is complete, then maybe in 2026 also you can give the test series. Otherwise 2027 giving the test series would be more wise, like better option, right? So you can give it in 2027. Then Adarsh is asking that the Drishti subject-wise PYQ books, they were published in 2023 and contain old question. But the idea about PYQs, Adarsh, is to have access to these old questions only, But yes, obviously after 2023, you may get the 24 and 25 papers from online, or like you can buy a new book, right, which has this compilation, but you can otherwise get it online very easily, right? From Drishti website also you can download it. Then a question from Diksha is, DCAT is covering to the point series for 2026 since the last 2 months. Is only DCAT enough or Tarkash needed additionally? So Diksha, DCAT, our Drishti Current Affairs Today magazine, right? If you are doing it regularly, then a large portion of your current affairs is covered, right? Sometimes students find it difficult to complete the entire magazine, but if you have been doing it diligently, then I think it is very good. But what happens, the monthly magazine, the topics are covered which are important in that month, right? So they have a time period, they cover it according to that. Now when we have to give the exam, for example, when we are giving UPSC 2026 prelims, so what happens, there are many news items which evolve over a period, right? For example, let me explain it with an example. So the governor's issue was there, right? You all will remember that there was a governor's issue, right? And the issue was that there was a judgment by the Supreme Court, 2-judge bench, which said that governor should follow timelines, right? Governor should follow timelines in clearing the state bills. clearing the state bills, right? So in one of the monthly magazine, maybe this would have been covered. But after that, what happened? It went for a presidential reference under Article 143. Presidential reference was there, right? And then a constitutional bench totally overturned the two-judge bench verdict, right? So they said that no, this cannot be done. The timeline cannot be set by the court. So now what happens? That when I'm saying that in our Tarkash current affairs compilation, you will get an updated picture, right? So this compilation will give you an updated picture of such issues, which is valid for the exam, right? So therein lies the utility of Tarkash. So I hope you have understood. So if you have been thorough with the magazine, very good. But Tarkash will actually complement and supplement whatever you have studied so far. Right? So that is the idea. Then Priyanka is saying that there is lack of accuracy in mock test. So it happens in mock test with us, but the point of giving mock test is to improve our accuracy, right? To find out. So for example, what is mock test? Right. And when we fall ill, right, we go to a doctor. What does the doctor advise us? Doctors writes down a list of tests, right? So doctor tells us that go and do these tests, right? Medical tests. And based on the result of these medical tests, what is diagnosed? The doctor will diagnose the disease or infection, and then the doctor will give us medicine, right? So similarly, what is mock test? Mock test is also like this. Mock test will help us to diagnose our weakness. Right? But instead of going to doctor, we need to self-diagnose, right? That okay, this test, acha, I am not doing well in polity. That means I need to focus more on polity. In polity, maybe I am not doing well on the fundamental rights question. So maybe I need to read the fundamental rights chapter again, right? And so on. So diagnose the weakness and then work upon it to improve our score. Right. So this is how we have to understand the mock test. The mock test, we should not be concerned too much about the score. Yes, score is important, but not that much. Just score in isolation does not mean anything. We may score very high in the mock test and we may not be able to clear the prelims, or vice versa. We may not be scoring that high, but if we are working on our weaknesses, we are constantly improving it, we may be able to clear the prelims, right? UPSC prelims, because that is the test which actually matters. The mock tests are actually helping us to prepare better for the actual test. This idea we should keep in mind. Okay, I hope this is clear. Okay, then Neshu is asking that Drishti magazine also provides a set of questions that is enough to current affairs or not. So that questions are good for current affairs, but they are basically to test your understanding of whatever you have read in the magazine. So that is called a magazine test, and it is also about the topics of current affairs which are covered in that magazine and they are asked. Okay. Then we have a question. Aniket, very interesting question. How many questions one should attempt in prelims? Okay, so let me take this question, that how many questions we should attempt. Out of 100, right? Let me frame it like a MCQ only. 100, 90, 80, T, or as many as we can attempt correctly. Right. So what should be the correct number? 100, 90, 80, or as many as we can attempt correctly. So see, there's no fixed number to attempt in UPSC prelims. Okay, it will again depend from or vary from individual to individual, right? So individual to individual it will vary, and obviously 100 questions nobody can attempt, right? That's almost impossible, because sometimes at least I think in every UPSC prelims question paper there are around 5 to 7 questions which are really difficult, right? Really difficult, which cannot be attempted by anyone, right? So it's a very difficult question, and this may again be different for different individuals, different aspirants, right? For somebody it may be a question from polity, for somebody it may be a question from science and tech, right? And so on. So 5 to 7 questions, very difficult, maybe up to 10 questions. So we are left with 90 questions. Out of 90 questions, how many we should attempt? So I think it will again boil down to our level of preparation. Our level of preparation. There is no set number as such. In a moderately difficult paper, maybe somebody can attempt around 75 questions. In a really difficult paper, it may also come down to 65. In an easy paper, it may go up to 85. Right? So these are the variations that can happen. So one should go with an open mind, and one should try to attempt as many questions as one can attempt correctly, right? Obviously, when we attempt 10 questions, there may be 2 questions which may go wrong. So rather than going for 100% accuracy and attempting very less number, we should go with some margin of error. So I think, in my view, in a moderate paper, one can try to attempt between 75 to 80 or 85 questions, depending upon your level of preparation, right? Because there is no hard and fast rule. Sometimes the paper may be a little bit easier, sometimes the paper may be really difficult. If it is very difficult, very random, then we are better off attempting less number of questions, because cutoff goes up and down, right? So there is no set question. I hope you have understood the point, right? And right, then the question of Aniket is, in monthly magazine, important topics, how to filter. So see, therein our Tarkash compilation will help you, because that is what our team has done. It has filtered down the important topics, and even in my crash course, what I'll do is I'll be picking out the most relevant and important topics for the past 1 year, and then we will be covering it in the course itself. Then Prem is saying, I don't know how to read newspaper. So we'll be taking a session on how to read newspaper. Generally, if you're not able to follow current affairs from newspaper, you find it difficult. So you can rely on our website www.drishtiis.com. Their current affairs tab is there, and therein you can read the news. Acha, the advantage of reading news from there is that you will also get the background information. Okay, so from there, if you make notes, short notes, it will be very handy. But the thing with current affairs is that you have to make short notes and you have to revise it multiple times. Then the question from Diksha is, I can cover about 50% of the magazine and I skip the topics which you cover in weekend classes, but the supplement portion covering particular subject. Okay, that's very good, Diksha. And Uday, right. He's asking about his name has been changed in school. So yes, Uday, for this you need to go through the UPSC notification. So I think you can change it through an affidavit. So there's a court process. I think the lawyer can guide you in that. And yes, right. So I think we have been able to cover some of the important areas. We'll be having such sessions now regularly, right? And one final thing which I would like to state, that if you are trying to attempt, or if you are wanting to attempt 2026 prelims, so time is just enough, right? So we are left with 3 months plus. It is just enough to clear prelims, right? No doubt about it. Just be sincere, just be consistent, right? So you need to be consistent and sincere. Then the third thing is, time is just enough. You have to be consistent and sincere, and you need to attempt PYQs and mock tests. Okay. Plus analyze them. This analysis is very important, right? And this will help you in improving your score. Rather than feeling sad or happy about a high score or a low score, we should be diagnosing that what went right in the test. Was it fluke? Was it by chance? How to make sure that we get it right all the time, and at the same time which questions we got incorrect, how to make sure that we get them correct next time. Was it lack of knowledge? Was it lack of application of knowledge, and so on, right? So help you in improving your score, right? So these are some of the things that we need to keep in mind, and UPSC Prelims 2026 is very much doable. No worries about it. Just you have to stay focused and consistent, right? And one final thing about CSAT, because many students also find it difficult to attempt the CSAT paper, right? So here I have a trend analysis of CSAT paper. I'll not go into detail of CSAT, but in CSAT paper, what we need to keep in mind is that in CSAT we are having 3 sections, right? 3 sections. So one is the reading comprehension, other is maths or quants, and the third one is logical reasoning, right? So in 2025, in math section there were around 33 questions, right? In reading comprehension there were 29 questions, and in logical reasoning there were 18 questions, right? And to pass CSAT we need to get around 67 marks, right? This is the passing score, and for this we need to get 27 questions correct, right? 27 questions correct. Acha, what should be our strategy? Our strategy should be to play to our strength. So if somebody is really good in reading comprehension, so one can focus more here. But for that, again, you need to analyze the previous year question papers and see what is your comfort level. You should attempt the previous year question paper and see what is the baseline score you are getting in these papers, and then you can formulate a strategy for this. So if logical reasoning questions, you can see that out of logical reasoning, out of 18 questions, how many you are able to attempt. Out of maths question, 33. Some are really difficult, but not all are so difficult that we cannot do. So even if one is able to do say around 7 to 10 questions here, right? And in reading comprehension, again one is able to do maybe around 10-12 questions, and from logical reasoning around 10 questions. So one will be able to clear the cutoff, right? So the qualifying, because it's a qualifying paper. So idea behind or the idea that is needed for UPSC Prelims 2026 to clear it is that we need to be very clear what we have to do. Rather than worrying about what will happen in the exam, we should be focused on doing our best, right? The competition is with ourselves because it's a competitive exam. So I cannot stop others from studying, but what I can do is I can try to give my best effort, right? So that should be our idea. So stay motivated, stay excited, and we'll continue to bring such sessions and some current affairs oriented programs to help you in this journey of UPSC prelims, right? So this is all from my side. I hope the session was useful for you, and you can write that in comments, and so that we can keep improving and bringing what you need in the upcoming sessions. So thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.